Hello rock and metal fans, welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews, and today I'm going to do another ranking the tracks from an album. So another request, as they all have been, and today's request is Whitesnake, the 1987 album, or as some countries it was just known as the Whitesnake album. In Europe it was actually known as 1987. So this is the UK version I'm going to be ranking. Obviously I'm from the UK. That's the album I had when I was a youngster at 17 years old. So this album is the 7th album from Whitesnake. It was released on the 31st of March 1987, 53 minutes and 9 seconds long, produced by Mike Stone and Keith Olsen, sold over 8 million copies worldwide. So a huge album for the band, and it was a massive change in direction for the band as well, because they became from a classic rock stroke bluesy type band, and from the 1987 album completely, well, not completely changed our direction, but it was quite a big shift into more of an accessible, probably heavier, more commercial at the same time Whitesnake. So, and it was obviously that done the trick, and right at the right time as well. You know, 1987, well, from about the early 1980s, as you know, through to the late 80s, big surgence in that melodic heavy rock stuff hitting MTV, and it was a huge hit for the band. For me personally, and obviously this is for Whitesnake, I prefer pre-1987 Whitesnake, and that's a bit strange for me, because my musical tastes, where I'm not completely into usually the bluesy stuff, it's sort of a strange thing for me to like that era better. You'd think I'd like the 1987 onwards era better, but I don't. I actually really do prefer pre-1987. But saying that, I love this album. You know, I do love it. I just like a lot of the Whitesnake albums better before it came out, before this one. I got to say though, that after listening to this more intently, after a long time really, I did skim over it when I was doing a video with Steve Perkins talking about our favourite tracks from Whitesnake. I did skim over it and have a little glance over all their discography. But I've got to admit it, after listening to this album actually today more intently to do this video, you can understand the hype that goes around John Sykes, because the guitar work on this album is absolutely amazing. I think that's the best thing about this album by far. As far as David Coverdale's voice goes, he's got, he had one of the greatest voices ever in rock. You know, if I actually had to think about it and sit down and name my top vocalists, he would be mentioned, probably in easily the top 10. I don't know how much further than that, but he would easily be up there. But there was a big shift in his voice as well for this. His voice, I much preferred his voice pre-1987. I know he had some problems as well. He had to have an operation on his throat, I believe, so that might have affected it. I'm not saying he had a bad voice in this album, by the way. He's got an excellent voice, but pre-1987 it was better, a lot better. So David Coverdale on vocals, obviously John Sykes on guitar. So man, it's mental. I'm just going to say now that until I listened to this today, I always knew this was good guitar work on this album, obviously, but I haven't heard it for a long time. And as I'm listening to the tracks, trying to rank them, listening to some of the intricacy and the amazing technical ability of John Sykes all the way through it, it just blew me away. Neil Murray on the bass, Ainsley Dunbar on the drums, Don Airey on keyboards. There's a few other musicians as well. Adrian Vandenberg actually appears on this album. He does a solo on one of the songs as well. I'm not sure if he done a lot more of the guitar work, but he appeared on the album as well. So ranking the tracks. So this was wasn't as hard as some. I knew what was going to be my top. It was more the middle and the bottom ones that were difficult for me to rank. So we've got 11 tracks to rank. Starting with number 11, You're Gonna Break My Heart Again. So this was the closer on the album. Remember, the track listing will be different than the American version as well. So any of you guys from over the pond are listening, you must understand if I mention this like this is the last track or the first track, we had a completely different track listing on the UK version. So number 11, You're Not Gonna Break My Heart Again. And it's the 11th track on the album, so the last one. It's an okay song. It's a sort of a rocking riff to kick it off. It's basically a paint by numbers sort of track for them times. That I think this song itself is probably saved by the guitar worker John Sykes. You know, it's not. All I can say about this album is, as far as technical ability, especially guitaring is concerned, it's their best album in the whole catalogue, in my opinion. As far as songwriting is concerned, maybe not. And touching on the production as well, I don't think it's the best production either. I thought it was a bit too polished at times. Coverdale's voice as well in earlier albums had a lot more clarity on the sound of the vocal, so you could really hear him better. So, you know, there's a few things that, I don't know, this is a huge album for a lot of fans, and it's some of the fans it's their best album. For me, it's not, but I do love the album. Let's just get that clear. Saint's Got to Come, number 11, You're Not Going to Break My Heart Again. That's number 11. Right, number 10, moving on. The ballad that takes probably quite a lot of bit of stick from fans, Is This Love? Big hit. A lot of fans sort of got a bit tired of this one, you know, and they sort of have a bit of a dig at the band for this one, but I like it. I think it's got a cool sort of vibe to it. A great solo, sort of showing Sykes not going too much, obviously slowing down because of the type of song it is, not going for the full speed technical stuff, but having a lovely, nice little melody. So I like that. I like the solo on this. And something I found out as well, which I didn't know, this song was actually written for Tina Turner, and it ended up for Whitesnake. You can actually imagine if you actually fucking if you actually listen to this song now, imagine Tina Turner singing it. You sort of can, but in a weird way. But I quite like the song actually. Is This Love is my number 10. My number 9, more of a deep cut, I suppose. Don't Turn Away. There's a lot of this song I like, but there's quite a bit I don't like. So it's sort of got, what I do like about it, in the verses, it's got more of the older sort of Whitesnake feel, and I think that's what I like about it. Could be classed as a ballad. It's very close between a ballad and a sort of medium pace sort of song. More leaning towards the ballad, I would say. Chorus is my least favourite part, but the verses are really cool. That's my number 9. My number 8, this be up there with a lot of people's, you know, it'd be on the top of this ranking, I would have thought, near the top. But Here I Go Again. Obviously, this was remade from an earlier album from Whitesnake. There's a few reasons why I've put this so low down. One is because I much prefer the earlier version, the more stripped down version. I think this is too overdone. Another thing is because I've heard it so much, this song, and I tried to get that, but I did try to think, you know, don't rank these tracks on how much I've heard them if I'm sick of hearing them, because this song is one of the most played songs I've ever heard on the radio, and I don't play the radio much, but anymore, especially anymore, because I fucking can't stand it. But you do hear this song a lot, you know, if you're in the workplace or something and it comes on the radio, no matter what station it is. I much prefer the original though, but this has got a sort of huge sound. It's obviously a lot heavier, but more melodic at the same time. Keyboards high in the mix, making it really commercial sounding. Guitar heroics though, amazing, sort of predictably, obviously, from Sykes. It's just mental, the guitaring all the way through this album. But Sykes didn't do the lead guitar solo, so what I'm talking about, the guitar heroics through the song are just mental. I think that's John Sykes, but Adrian Vandenberg actually done the solo on this, and I love it because it's more simple. It follows the melody of the song. It's a really cool solo. So here I go again. It's a bit strange actually. I was reading that John Sykes didn't want to do the solo because he doesn't like bluesy songs, and he didn't want to do a bluesy solo, but Sykes has done plenty of bluesy sounding stuff, which doesn't really make sense. But there you go. Number 8 is Here I Go Again. Number 7, Bad Boys. So, another rocker, a real rocker. Can I just say that, and I know this was never meant to be a deep and meaningful album, but lyrically it is quite poor. Now, back in 1987, I can understand that lyrically this wasn't, didn't get looked at in that way. And you can understand it was back then in 1987, the lyrics were probably a lot more simpler from if you want to bung them in that glam sort of heavy melodic rock sort of, genre. But lyrically, bands weren't meant to use their brains. They weren't going to win any fucking awards for like their lyrics, without a doubt. But Whitesnake's lyrics were better before this album. This is very, Bad Boys. I don't even remember the lyrics now. Running in the streets, wild in the streets, wherever it is. It's a typical lyric for those days. But I mean, if a band brought out an album now with these lyrics on, they would probably be, scrutinised big time lyrically, because I think as reviewers and people and the media that reviews these things, I think they look more intently now at every aspect of the music, and lyrically, if it would be looked at quite poorly nowadays. Amazing guitar throughout this song, as it is all the way through the album, by the way. Typical 80s lyrics, like I said, not meant to be deep, are they? But I love the melody at the end of the solo. A lot of these solos kick in by Sykes and they go really technical, and then he might kick in with a lovely little melody before he goes back into the song. Does that quite a few times on this album, but great song. I do like it, Bad Boys, but there's a lot better songs in my opinion on this album. Number 6, Children of the Night. So another rocker, sort of similar to that sort of Bad Boys type thing. Stomping song. Very cool guitar work in the pre-chorus. Yet again, you can hear some amazing stuff going along, where a lot of guitarists would just be playing chords. He's playing lead stuff throughout these, it sounds like lead stuff, real technical little fiddly bits. It's quite amazing, really. Very poor lyrically again, Children of the Night. It just is. It's one of those signs of the times, I suppose. Follows many cliches of 80s rock, but I mean, man, that's why this album's successful. I think just at the right time, man. 1987 must have been one of them years, along with 85, 86, 87, when it was at full speed, like hair metal, melodic stuff. Oh, let's not forget, as I mentioned in hair metal, their fucking hair exploded on this album. They went from having just their hair like down here. It was some of the biggest hair ever. One of Coverdale's regrets, actually, about the change of fashion, if you like. Anyway, number 5. That was number 6. My number 5, Give Me All Your Love. So I like this cool groove to this song. Lyrically, very 80s again. Won't win any awards, like I said before. Give Me All Your Love Tonight, on repeat. Solos, though, full of guitar tricks again. Just amazing. Listening to this all the way through this album. The breakdown is a quiet breakdown, which happens quite a lot in Whitesnake songs, and gives Coverdale a chance to do his little heavy breathing stuff, which I like that part. It makes me smile now, but I still think he's cool. Doing all that heavy breathing stuff, I think is quite cool. But that's my number 5, is Give Me All Your Love. My number 4, another remake, but yet again, I much prefer the earlier version, but Crying in the Rain. Really beefed up this one from the original version, but I just prefer the original version. It had a more stripped down feel to it, just like Here I Go Again. So rides along on that sort of lovely, amazing riff in the choruses with them sort of squealing guitar licks that just Sykes does. Mental. Unbelievable, fast, technical solo again. Very long, actually. Longer than I remember it being in this song. Some real guitar heroics on this one. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right, my number 3. Straight for the Heart. I love this song. It's really fun. This is a top-down summer song. Makes me smile. As I was listening to it today, it made me smile. All right, the chorus might be a little bit, I don't know, a little bit corny, but I still love it. I think it's great. One of the catchiest songs on the album. A real catchy, upbeat summer song. I love it when Sykes comes out of the speedy solo again and does one of those melodies again, like he does before the song kicks in. Absolutely brilliant. They're my favourite parts of Sykes' stuff. His melody is so great, you know. Apart from the speedy stuff, he's got some great melody going on. Okay, my number 2 might not be on other people's lists so high, but I absolutely love it. I think it's the underrated ballad of the album, and it's Looking for Love. I love this song. Quite a long song, 6.5 minutes, and easily the strongest ballad, like I said, on the album. Good mix of old Whitesnake with the new version mixed in this. You know, the new elements of their change direction, if you like, but their old, a lot of style showing through, their bluesy sort of cool sort of sound. I love how this song sort of builds and builds and builds, and this is how I always think a ballad should build. It should, you know, rock ballads should build and build up, and this does, with some amazing, yet again, I mean, I don't want to repeat myself, but Sykes' guitaring on this album, mental. I just wish the production was a little bit clearer, because I think sometimes some of the Sykes, John Sykes' soloing stuff, and all the stuff he's doing fiddly in between, is sort of hidden back in the mix a little bit. You know, you're having to listen for those little bits, and I think if it was really cut through clear on this production, it'd be even better. But it's still amazing. It's still absolutely amazing. And that's the last song. You probably all know what it is, and that's Still of the Night. And this was the first track on this album in the UK. I know it wasn't on the American version, I believe, but 6.5 minutes of pure classic rock stroke metal, I would say, close to. What an epic song. The quintessential heavy rock song. This has got everything. 2 minutes in, Coverdale gives the old ooh baby bit, you know what I'm saying, when then when it slows right down and his heavy breathing bit again. Then the cello, which I believe is probably a keyboard, comes in for that classic part of this song, changing the song up. You know, I think what I love about this as well, there's so many different parts of this song. You know, you got the heaviness going on, then it breaks down into the slow little heavy breathing stuff that Coverdale does, then it goes into the cello part, and man, when it breaks into the solo of John Sykes, the hairs stand on the back of your neck. When it comes in, it's just so epic. It is so epic. And then of course it goes back into the song with that heavy riff. Wow, wow, wow. Sorry. Right, okay, I think that's time to give up now. Now I've started doing the guitar sounds. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you liked my Whitesnake 1987 track ranking. Like I said, it was another recommendation from someone, another request. So I've got a couple of albums that have been requested that I've never actually heard. And one of them's quite famous that I never actually, for some reason, left the band alone. Quite an old classic band, so I'll probably have to have a bit of time with that one. Another band I've actually seen live, but I never liked them. But I'm probably still going to do the album because someone's requested it. But if there's any other you want to request, you know, let me know and I'll do a track ranking. I actually really enjoyed doing these. It makes a change for me. Like, it's a different type of thing. What did you think of my track ranking? Please give me your track ranking of Whitesnake 1987. And do you like it as much? What era of Whitesnake do you like? Do you like the bluesier, older, classic, more Whitesnake? Or did you like it when they changed their sound from 1987 onwards into a more arena rock type sound, I suppose you would say? Let me know. Thank you very much. And if you want to subscribe, please press the red button, bottom right hand corner.